I love chases. Some of you might already know this if you have been watching me for some time. I don't know exactly where this love started, but it was probably Need for Speed. Madness, cars flying, the good stuff. And truth be told, BeamNG chases come very close, like super close. Except for one thing, of course, complete madness due to soft body physics. Today I will dissect one of the new scenarios and show you how to destroy it with ease. If you are lucky. Pardon me, if you are very lucky. Unleashed is a pretty typical chase scenario. Located in Italy, it features a lot of typical Italian scenery. Fields, narrow streets, and still German-made, Italian-imported trash bins. Overall, the map is solid, and usually it's not going to be a problem for any semi-capable driver. But we are talking about a chase scenario, which means a lot of obstacles in the way of NPCs. So what are the main types of vehicles? Well, there are only two, the player's car and the police. The Piccolinas driven by NPCs are pretty weak overall, semi-powerful engine, small, fragile, but nonetheless pretty agile. They can cut corners and be a pesky little problem if you let them, or if the game decides so. The player's vehicle, on the other hand, is the complete opposite. Heavy, big, powerful and durable. At first glance, it might seem overpowered. You can just crush your way through Piccolinas. But sadly no. This monster has two big flaws: brakes and axles. With such a powerful engine, you just can't slow down fast enough, especially for turns. One mistake and you are flying into the nearest building. And axles, well, one bad hit at the wrong angle and suddenly your turning rate increases by a lot. It happens due to bend of set parts, and it's safe to say that after this, finishing the scenario becomes nearly impossible, even if the rest of your car is in pristine condition. The game generously provides a path directly to the finish. It features a lot of turns and a pretty big straight sector. There are some specific parts that can be problematic, mainly harsh 90 degrees turns and two rather nasty bumps. The car can and will become unsettled after these jumps, which can lead to big problems or in some cases even a restart. I guess that's it for the actual problems with the map, until you take into consideration the specific features of this game mode. There are only two: how the police spawn and how the finish works. While you are on the road, police cars can magically appear anywhere in front of you. These NPCs are unable to spawn behind you, but they can catch up if you let them behind and get stuck. They do not spawn off-road, nor will they follow the player there. The usual spawn pattern consists of 1 to 3 cars or a single roadblock. If you are on the wrong lane, they will spawn ahead of you and sometimes even try to ram you. Now let's talk about the finish. It all comes down to one problem: the green bar. It takes roughly 30 seconds to fill completely, and depending on how long the police cars haven't seen you, it can be filled instantly. That alone can be the difference between setting a world record or a complete flop. And if you will be spotted when it's filling up, it's gonna reset to 0. The current world record is 1 minute and 24 seconds, but I can do better. I didn't check any runs beforehand, so this should be fun. The normal route is, well, pretty normal. A bit RNG heavy, but also stable. However, I have already spotted a skip. Why bother with hard turns when we can just jump through the field, ignore all police spawns and gain a ton of speed? Well, there is one problem: RNG. To be fair, looking at this section closely, it doesn't look easy at all. But alas, 30% of the time, it works every time. After some tests, I found out that going left of the tree is a terrible idea. The jump is way too high and leads to massive issues. Meanwhile, going right is still RNG, but the setup is much cleaner and leads to almost clean jumps. almost. After that, it's a nice straight path to the finish, if the game lets you. As I mentioned earlier, NPC spawns are random. If you are unlucky enough, well, they just completely block the road, and it can happen on both lanes. Oh, and if you were thinking about taking a completely different route, don't bother. The narrow streets make it nearly impossible to get through. Most of my runs that didn't die on the skip got wrecked, either right before the turn to the finish or on the path leading to it. Sometimes I lost a wheel, sometimes an axle, and sometimes it was my sanity. But in the end, I did figure out this map, at least partially. A perfect run would start with a quick skip to the field, which can save up to 2 seconds. From there, taking the perfect line ensures maximum speed, leading into an ideal jump with minimal airtime. After surviving the bumps, the next challenge is choosing the right lane. Both options are viable, but each comes with major problems. If you take the correct lane, the police will follow you, and since they are more agile, taking the last corners becomes much easier for those nasty picolinas, which means the only way to stop them is a crash. And the only way to crash them all is a roadblock. That's right, we actually need to hope for a roadblock right before the turn to stop any cars from following. On the other hand, the wrong lane is the complete opposite. Cops won't follow, but they will still try to ram you, only at the start of the straight though. I have no idea why, and any roadblocks here are deadly. The turn to the finish from this side is even harder unless you hit an insanely precise cut through the trees. I genuinely believe that this is the best possible approach. Last part with 2 rough turns and finish. Car must stop in the circle and then just move behind this house. NPC don't see you, easy finish. After countless failed attempts and roughly 60 gigabytes of complete RNG chaos, I finally got it. Lua error. That's right, for some reason this car is really buggy and it can lag out the game itself. In total I got around 10 lag spikes just because of it. But at last I finally had a run that could be considered okay-ish. Here's how it went. I started off by losing around 1 second. Yep, one tiny bump cost me an entire second. Then I hit an almost perfect line into the jump, but RNG struck again. A random Piccolino was right in my path. Luckily, my car was still in decent enough condition, so I managed to stabilize and keep going. But then I got a bad setup for the turn to the straight, which meant I lost the option to take the wrong lane. A few random police spawns later, and after some confident dodging, I finally spotted it. A roadblock. I tried to go as precise as possible to avoid losing wheels or bending the suspension, but bad luck struck again. One of my wheels popped. Still, I managed to clear both turns with some tactical wall hits and even got stuck behind a building. But sadly, only about 40% of the green bar was filled, which meant my 102 run got stretched to 118. Imagine that. Just 16 seconds of waiting. 118 is pretty good. I need to show it to Vulp. Oh, he answered. Probably liked what he seen. That was a wild ride. Thank you for watching. Subscribe. Don't forget to like also. And comment. Let me know if you like chase scenarios. I will see you all in the next one.